And we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Vasil, and today we're gonna deep dive into Crystallize Mass Operations API. And of course, to do that, I brought with me Pedro, who is actually one of the masterminds behind it. And Pedro also is a senior backend developer here at Crystallize. Hi, Pedro.
Hello, everyone.
How-
Nice to see you, Vasil.
Yeah, nice to see you too. How are you?
Good, good, very good. I'm excited to show this. I think it's for the first time, right?
Yeah, that's true. Completely new feature we're going to talk about. Cool. So before getting into mass operations and all the technical details behind this, right? Let's try to understand a little bit what are mass operations and like what kind of problems they are trying to solve. Let's look at some real life example. And I thought about it. For example, we have this use case where people migrate a legacy store to a new place, right? And then they need to move so many products, and they need to run these new products to create these new products in the new environment, like in Crystallize, for example, to move. Or we have a case, for example, where every Monday or whatever in a regular time base, we need to update like hundreds or thousands of products to update description or a different property of the product. And in these cases, what we do in most cases, or what we do today, as we say, right, we run a bunch of mutations. And most of the time, we run them in a sequence, right? We update one product, then update the next one, or like in some batches. But still, updating like hundreds or thousands of products may take some time until it completes, and also is kind of error prone, right? Imagine that something happens in midway and kind of you lose track of what was updated, what not, then you run again these mutations. It takes time. So this is really cumbersome. And working with this big amount of items is not easy. It's not like just running two mutations and say, I'm done. So this is actually the place where we thought mass operations is something that really can help our users to do all these kind of tasks, which are either they may be daily tasks or just once in a lifetime, but making the developer life easier and feeling more secure in executing these commands. I think this is really, really important. So mass operations in Crystallize, right? What is mass operations? So the mass operations allows you to execute a large batch of crystallized mutations by uploading a JSON file with instructions or actions that needs to be performed. And that's kind of the base of it, right? We have a JSON file with a bunch of instructions, which files needs to be changed, updated, or whatsoever. We're gonna look. We upload the file to Crystallize, and then Crystallize run the commands, and you get back the result. This is kind of in a nutshell, trying to summarize the mass operations. So, Pedro, shall we start with maybe looking a little bit of what's the structure of this JSON file? Like, because this is not like a regular mutation, it has a little bit different structure, and probably you can talk about why it's this and what we need to be to be more cautious about it.
Yeah, indeed. Our goal is to make it as similar as possible to what we already know from our API. So you'll find a lot of you'll be if you know our APIs, you'll be familiar with the data you have to provide. And the goal is just to have you can just add as many operations as you want in a single file and have them dispatch them all at once. I can show you an example of a file that we can use. For example, here it's a lot easier to talk if I'm just showing you the code, right? So here, this is kind of similar to what we use to create a product, with a few changes here that I'll explain. But for the most part, I'm here creating a product. Bear in mind that we tend to have operations in mass operations called create, update, and delete. But we also have one called absert, which personally it's one I always use. If I want to have something, if I want to add or update something, it will just create if it doesn't exist. So I don't have to worry about any of that. And most of the fields you see here, are the ones you provide when you create a product anyways, right? A few differences here will be the _ref, which I'll explain a bit later, and also the resource identifier. But apart from it, we can already know. Bear also in mind that we also offer some information from the start, like every tenant will have its root item ID, its root folder. And I never know it from heart. Like it's a Mongo ID. We're not supposed to know it. And I always have to search for it if I create a new tenant and I want to add items. So we just do it from we just give it for free. And the same thing goes for the VAT type IDs. It's just here, and you can just use it. All of these defaults, you'll see them in the documentation. These are just two quick examples of them.
So let me try to kind of understand a little bit better. So you're saying that here, most of the fields that we are seeing are pretty much what you would provide if you do a crystallized mutation, let's say in this case, to create a product. You have a shape identifier, name, tree parent ID, where that product needs to be located, right? Components, I guess the component structure is the same that we have today on the API.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this really makes it easy to understand, like everything that needs to be provided. And as you said, if people are familiar with the Crystallize APIs, this will be straightforward to get it. One question here I have about the intent that I have is product upsert. Is there like a place where I can find like all the intents, or what are the other options that I can use? Because I guess this is predefined list of options that I can choose from, right? It's not like really made up string.
Yeah, that's a good question. We have them documented in our docs. So docs-developer-mass operations. And it's still a work in progress. We're still adding more as days go by. Nice. But you can see them here, and you'll quickly find examples for every one of them, and see how we can create them basically, and create a proper JSON file. When you execute it, if you use our CLI, which is what I'm going to use, it will let you know immediately before uploading the file if you're using a wrong field or you're not providing something that should be there. So that's not something that you should have to worry about. It will be validated right away.
Great. So so we have the list of intents. That's really great, and we're gonna keep updating this one, as you said. And then we can use the Crystallize CLI. Maybe can you show that if you have it somewhere kind of available? So the idea here is that this will validate our JSON to make sure that is correct before really the JSON gets to the server. I think this is really valuable, because in case there is a typo or something in the intent or somewhere else, missing closing brackets or whatever could be, right? We will get that straight away. I think this is really nice. I like that.
Yeah, and it's very easy to use. So if you have the Crystallize CLI installed, so I'm not going to go through that right now, but it's very easy to install. You can find it in our docs as well. All you have to do is the Crystallize Mass Operation run, and now you just have to provide two fields. The first one is the tenant identifier, which I'm going to copy and paste because mine I should have made it shorter. That's my tenant identifier, and then I need to specify it's one-create product.json. And this should... Wait, am I doing some AI stuff here? I was by mistake, sorry. But there it is. And it's done.
Nice.
Well, this is a very short task. This is probably slower. If you just have to do one request, this is probably slower than using the API directly. But if you have to do two or more, this will be for sure faster. So now, if I find my tenant, yes, the catalog was empty. But now, if I refresh, there it is. My product was added.
Yeah, that definitely, that upsert, as you said, created the item. on the roots, as you can see there. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, definitely it makes more sense when we have not just one item, but we talk usually about hundreds and thousands. So this is for the demo, I think this is perfect.
Yes. So my next example is kind of like that, where instead of just creating, I'm creating a folder structure where I have one folder, and inside of that I will have how many? 10. I'll have 10 products inside that folder. Everything is very similar, except one thing. I mentioned the _ref. It's called root products. And then I'm using the result of this operation to set the parent ID of the subsequent items that I'm creating. So I'm creating a folder. I will get an ID from it, and I will and all the other products will be created inside that folder.
So the ref is something that we can name the way that we like. Is that correct? And then you can just use that reference, that string that we provided initially in a different place by also pulling the return result from the mutation, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So if I were to execute this, let me just quickly show you. Same thing, different file.
Let me ask one question more while we are on the JSON file.
It's done, by the way.
It's done?
Yeah.
No,
well, it should have been done, but yeah, you can ask.
Yeah. So the question I have, because now we see more operations, right, in the JSON file. What about the order of items? Does it matter, or it could be random? Do they need to be in a sequence? What's kind of the logic there of how we should structure this file when we have, of course, more than one operation, which in most cases will be the case, right?
Yes. So the idea is you create. Well, it just has to like here. I want to create a folder, and I want to create products inside of that folder. I need to be mindful of this order, right? The folder needs to be there before I create the other items. It kind of depends on the structure of the data you're adding into Crystallize. Also here, I'm assuming that all the shapes already exist. But that might not be the case necessarily. But we can also use mass operations to bootstrap the shapes as well.
Great. Okay, so you're saying that the important part is that making sure that when we create something inside something else, to make sure that what's on the top first is created, and then we can add items into it. What about are the operations executed in sequence, or they're like in parallel running? What's the logic there?
They all go in sequence. Yeah, there is no parallelization at the moment. This is a work in progress. That might be something to consider later on, but all these operations that you see here, they are running one at a time.
Got it. Okay, so the important part first, we create folders or whatever we need to kind of put something inside, and then we can create the products and locate them straight where they need to live in the catalog tree, more or less, to summarize it. Great. So you mentioned that actually that also we can use the mass operations to create shapes, right? Update shapes, I guess. What else can we use the mass operations today? Because I know that you said this is work in progress, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
We have already the base, the foundation that works for products and shapes. But what else we can also use it for?
You can see it in our open source library for the schema where we kind of validate already the existing operations, but it's mostly product operations. Like I said, create, update, and delete. There's also stuff for subscription contracts already, orders. You can do customers. Right up, like out of the top of my mind, that's it.
Price lists, maybe. I think
yes, that wasn't me, but I think we also have price lists. So the idea is to have full feature parity from our APIs to mass operations. So that's you can just use it this is if you prefer. I personally like this because I can just bootstrap my tendency immediately with all the same data, and I get like the results are I know what I'm getting. Another things we have is this file is similar to the one I was showing for multiple items, but I'm not using the underscore ref here. Well, what I'm doing is I'm creating the root folder, and then I'm fetching the item by resource identifier. So resource identifier is something new that we're creating with mass operations, where for every resource, could be an item, could be an image, so on and so forth, you can give it a resource identifier. So now what I'm doing is I can fetch the item by resource identifier, which is the root products folder, and then I can just extract the item ID from it. So this is a different way of me saying, I want this item to be inside that folder, rather than using ref, because if you use ref, this is only relevant for the current operation that you're running at that moment. The resource identifier lives on, so you can on future mass operations you can use.
I see. So the resource identifier is a way to refer an item through multiple updates, kind of in a way, right? That's what I understand from this. So if you have an item and we have a resource identifier, later we can refer to this same item without knowing like what's the ID it was created for, right? Because I give the resource identifier, and this is the most, I think, beneficial. So next time when I want to update or change this item, I just use the resource identifier that I have from my mass operations file, and Crystallize will link it to the item that needs to be changed and then change it. I think this is really time saver and making actually these multiple updates possible, right? Because we don't want to create new products all the time because we just don't know what's the ID that we get back from the operation.
Correct. You'll not end up with duplicates. Great. So that's a very good way to put it. And it's also good if you're importing items from a separate system, as long as they have a unique ID, you can just easily import them as many times as you want. They will always match.
Yeah, great. What about this syntax? Maybe can you share a few words about the fetch item by resource identifier in the curly braces? Is the handlebars or syntax?
It's handlebars. It's 100% handlebars. Basically, here we're using two helpers, two custom handlebars helpers. The first one is gonna be fetching the item in the English language, the item with this resource identifier, and then we're just extracting the value of whatever result comes from there. We're extracting the item ID. This is also a work in progress, but the documentation is there to see what type of helpers do we have at our disposal. I personally like to use this because I know the results are more consistent. I'm just more used to this, and I'm happy we have it. But the underscore ref is also still it's always an option.
Yeah, definitely. And this the handlebars syntax seems quite powerful and I think easy to extend. So I guess in the future we may have more of these queries doing more fancy stuff, right? And I think we'll just keep updating the docs, and people can refer to it, right, to see what's the
one thing. Next in line is for images, for example, where you don't need to. If you have a lot of images to upload to Crystallize, your mass operation should just only. And if you run it again, if the image exists, you're not going to be wasting bandwidth or even time uploading images that already exist.
Because you dropped a little bit. So you're saying that with mass operations and uploading images, if the image exists, the mass operations will make sure that the image is not uploaded again. So just referring to the key of the first uploaded image.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely beneficial because it's quite easy to have the same image, different names or whatever that comes from different people. And then, I mean, if it's different names, but the same image ID used on different places, and if you need to upload every time, I see how that can add more bandwidth rather than just reuse one image. Great.
So now I'm trying to run this, and obviously since this is a live demo, what worked 5 minutes before, it's now throwing an error. But if you see an error, it might happen. Bear in mind this is a work in progress, but we get an ID for the task that I created. So you can also query you can use our API to query what bold task you are executing, and you can get more information about it. So here, if I do it, I get to see why this is failing. Trying to move in a tree node requires either a parent ID or a position. I don't know why it's telling me that. Maybe I created the items and they are orphan. That could happen. So let me try something else.
Live troubleshooting, yeah, I love that. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just
while we were looking at this, maybe I'm going to share a few things about viewing the logs from mass operations, and this is just a kind of a sneak peek. I cannot show it now, but just I'm sharing it. It's really I'm currently working on it. So we're going to add in the Crystallize admin UI an option where you can see your mass operation logs, meaning that all the mass operations that you run on the tenant in the Crystallize admin UI, we are adding a new page where you can see the logs with all the details of like if it was successful, if it failed, what's the reason. You can filter, sort, and all kind of things that can help you to work with mass operations. And I think this is will be very beneficial for people, rather than copy, like doing what you do today, right? Copy the task ID, run a separate query to get the logs and stuff like that. All of this will be just in the Crystallize admin UI, ready to be used hopefully next week. So just a small surprise there about troubleshooting, knowing what's going on.
Yeah, like I said, work in progress, but the idea is to end up with something that you always get consistent results.
Yeah. And maybe one last recommendation, maybe if you have like all the people that they have some existing system, whatever, some set of data from a legacy place, right? We started with this real life example, and they want to move to Crystallize using mass operations. Like, what would be the recommended way to build this migration, right? Because when they have the data in one format, they need to turn it into a different.
If you have the data, a way to get data from whatever system you're using, it's just a simple. It could be a CSV even as well. It's just something that you can easily parse and create a JSON file out of it with this syntax that we've been showing you. That's pretty much it. And our CLI will complain if there's something off with it, so we can just re-execute and try again.
Yeah, great. I think that's really helpful, and the right way and the easy way to do the migration. So that's amazing. Cool. I think that's all. I think the important part here is that I can recommend people, right? Go online, crystallize.com documentations. Check the document that we have for mass operations, so we know how it works, what it expects, and everything is written there, right? Which also will help you to start with the Crystallize CLI. Very easy, as Pedro showed you. You just provide a tenant identifier, you provide your JSON file. The rest is just happening behind the scenes, so you don't need really to worry about it. I think this is a good start to start with the mass operations, and continue from there, just to build on. I think that's all from us today, Pedro, unless you have something else you want to share.
No. Keep working on this, make it more consistent, and we'll have more able to execute soon as well.
Yeah, great. So that's all from us. If you like it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.